Welcome back, everybody. Let's do some more DevOps slash SRE interview questions and answers. A lot of the subscribers are really looking for these, so I'm going to keep doing some more of this for a while, so that it's useful to the audience that I'm catering to. Um, Again, these questions are more geared towards junior slash mid-level DevOps slash SREs. However, some of these can come up in an interview for senior level SREs as well. All right, let's get started. First one, why do we need configuration management and what tools helps with this? So first of all, you have to know what configuration management is. Anything OS and above, meaning let's say that your application runs Apache, right? So your virtual machines need to have Apache configuration, if it's PHP or whatever your application is, what service it's going to run, what library it's going to need, what third-party tools it might need. You need um, mm, all of those items configured so that you can rebuild the machine over and over again if you need to. That's called configuration management, OS and above. In the DevOps world, we do a pretty good job with Terraform and whatnot for spinning out the cloud infrastructure, but tooling for things that go on top of the OS, we're not so good at. So that's the part that's called configuration management. You should know that term, and you should know what tools work for that. The most common one people use is Ansible. Unless you're doing containers, then it's a whole different story. Um, Unfortunately, there aren't any good alternatives to Ansible. We have Chef and Puppet that's even older tools, and they're overkills, and they kind of became unpopular over the years because Ansible is easier to use. Some people use SaltStack, but I don't know if anybody who uses SaltStack for production. So those are some of the tools that you could use for configuration management. Ansible is probably the most common one. Even so, it's kind of easy, but it's also complicated and not intuitive sometimes. So you have to keep that in mind. Moving on, next question. What have you done with secret management? Secret management is a whole big topic, especially if you're doing Kubernetes. There are multiple ways to store your secrets where your virtual machines, your containers can go and grab them, or maybe even your CI/CD tools, right? So where do you keep them? So you have to know what kind of answer you're going to give based on your experience. If you don't have any experience with this, you should really study up on that. So some of the ways people do this, there's a tool called Vault. However, it is not very easy tool to learn. There's a learning curve to that. A lot of people struggle with it. I struggled with it for a good year before I felt comfortable with it. So Vault is from HashiCorp. You could use that. Nowadays, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, they all come with their own tooling as part of their cloud offerings. For example, I think AWS is literally called as AWS Secret Manager. Google's is also probably called Secret Manager, something like that. You could put your secrets in these tools, and that will enable your virtual machines or containers to grab them from from those tools when it needs. If you're using Kubernetes, you can also use Kubernetes' own solutions. They're literally called secrets. You can put them there, and that's a much closer, tight, knit coupling between the containers and the secrets. All right, moving on. What is your idea of observability? I'm going to mess up this word. Observability. I'm not going to try it anymore. And why do you need it? So this topic is one of those 8 or 9 things I discussed in another video for the robustness of your service when you're doing DevOps or site reliability engineering. This is what makes your, so if you have, let's pretend for a second, then you have 1,000 containers running, or you have 10 VPCs or projects, and you have maybe hundreds of virtual machines running. You have no way of getting to this, observing how they're performing, your application, your virtual machines, your networks, whatnot, how they're performing. You have to have a tool that grabs the data in real time and presents it to you in some way that's intuitively easy to see, right? You can SSH into 100 VMs and figure out what the performance is looking like. So you have to have some kind of tooling around, either homegrown or open source or paid, or what have you, to gather all the metrics, whatever metrics are important to you and the developers that produce these services, right? And that's called observability, and it's there are several tools that are paid for, like Datadog and Splunk and whatnot. You can also use Prometheus in conjunction with Grafana or Kibana. There are tools like that that has agents running on your virtual machine that sends the data in real time within milliseconds to the tool that you're looking at to see how your whole infrastructure is performing. So that's the idea of observability, and um, you should know what it means. You should know how you would do it if you had to do it for your role, and what if you have anything that you have used in the past, you should be able to ready to talk about those. All right, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. That really helps me with the YouTube's algorithm, and I will be back with a few more questions and answers in the next video.